Picture this. The year is 300 BC. The sun rises over the glistening shores of Cyprus, and a wealthy merchant named Zeno is preparing for another successful voyage. His ship is loaded with precious cargo, a lifetime of work, of wealth, of status, all floating on water. But the sea, it has its own plans. Waves rise, the winds howl, and just like that, everything is gone. Zeno watches as his ship sinks beneath the waves. His riches vanish, his future uncertain. Most men would collapse, cry out, rage against the heavens, fall into bitterness. But Zeno, he stood still, silent. He didn't just survive the storm, he was reborn by it. What was meant to break him became the fire that forged him. With nothing left but his thoughts and the clothes on his back, Zeno wandered into Athens. There, in a small bookstore, he discovered the words of Socrates, and something inside him shifted forever. He realized that life is not about what you own, but how you respond when life takes it all away. The spark of Stoicism. Zeno began studying philosophy with a hunger only loss can ignite. He listened, he questioned, he thought deeply, and in time he began to teach. But what he taught wasn't just philosophy, it was a way of life, a way of seeing the world not through fear or desire, but through clarity, through resilience, through control over the only thing that's ever been truly yours, your mind. And that became known as Stoicism. What Stoicism truly means. Today, many misunderstand Stoicism. They think it means being emotionless, cold, untouched by pain. But that's not Stoicism. Stoicism doesn't teach you to feel nothing. It teaches you to not be controlled by what you feel, to stay steady in chaos, calm in crisis, and strong, especially when the world gives you every reason to fall apart. Pain as perspective. We don't suffer because life is painful. We suffer because it's unexpected. Rain is good, it waters the fields, but when it catches you without warning, you curse the sky. Why? Because you didn't expect it. But what if you did? What if, like the Stoics, you expected that life will hurt, that loss is part of the deal, and that death waits for us all? Then pain becomes a teacher, not an enemy. Voluntary discomfort, training for life. The Stoics trained their minds through voluntary discomfort. They slept on hard floors. They ate plain food. They walked in the cold without complaint. Not to suffer, but to remind themselves, even if the worst comes, I'll survive, and I'll stay me. Because how you live when things are easy says little. But how you live when things fall apart, that reveals your strength. Happiness and the illusion of more. Society tells us we'll only be happy when we have more. A better car, a bigger house, a perfect partner. More money, more status, more validation. But Stoicism exposes that lie. Because anything external, anything you can lose, cannot be the source of your happiness. As Seneca once wrote, learning to live with less will create space in your life for what truly matters. The dichotomy of control. This is the heart of Stoicism. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. You can't control the waves, but you can control how you sail. You can't control other people, the economy, the weather, or even how long you live. But you can control your thoughts, your actions, your response. The chief task in life, Epictetus said, is to distinguish between what is within our power and what is not. That's the dichotomy of control, and it is freedom. Effort over outcome. Take something as simple as making a YouTube video. You can write, record, edit, upload. That's your part. But once it's out there, views, likes, shares, that's not in your hands. So why suffer over what you don't control? Judge yourself by your effort, not the result. Because only effort is yours. True success. Imagine working hard for months, hoping for a promotion. You do everything right, and still your boss says no. Most people spiral. They take it personally. They feel worthless. But the Stoic sees it differently. I did my part. I gave my best. The rest was never mine. Success isn't getting the reward. It's becoming the person who deserves it. The four virtues of Stoicism. At the core of Stoicism are four timeless virtues. Wisdom, to know what's in your control. Courage, to act anyway even when you're afraid. Temperance, to resist excess and live with balance. Justice, to treat others fairly because we are all in this together. These aren't ancient ideas. They're tools for surviving the modern world. Stoicism in action. Nelson Mandela. When Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, he had every reason to be bitter, to hate, to seek revenge. But instead he chose forgiveness. He chose to rebuild. Mandela read Marcus Aurelius in his cell. He embraced Stoicism not just in theory, but in action. And when he was finally freed, he didn't destroy his enemies. He united a nation. Modern Stoicism in psychology. Today, Stoic principles live on in therapies like REBT, Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy, which teaches us to challenge negative beliefs with reason. Logotherapy, which says we can endure almost anything if we believe our life has meaning, both born from the same Stoic insight. We may not control our suffering, but we control how we interpret it. Final thoughts, the Stoic life. In the end, Stoicism is not about being tough. It's about being free. Free from the chaos of the outside world. Free from the need for more. Free from fear of failure or death. And if, like Zeno, we lose everything, we still have the one thing that truly matters. Ourselves. So if the ship sinks, let it sink. Smile through the wreckage. Because in losing everything, you may find the strength to become something greater. And that is the way of the Stoic.